Hey, this is Watch Rewatch. I'm Sean.
I'm John.
And we're back for week 7.
7.
7 weeks, non-consecutive? Yeah, non-consecutive 7 weeks. But 7 weeks nonetheless on a thing that I didn't think I would have the follow-through to do 2 of. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. This is Pat on the Back episode 4.
Okay.
Because I think I've done too many of these. But you know what? Nice job. Great job to everybody because you should believe in yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. You're great.
Great too, yeah. And if you're even greater with the ability to see through our voices, like if you can transport yourselves into our voices and see the setup that Sean has with this beautiful Pro FX soundboard.
Oh, I guess that'll be the first shout out of a couple of weeks. Yeah, shout out to ProFX 8 V2. It's a great mixer. It doesn't mix pancake batter. It mixes audio stuff, but it's good at mixing. Jesus Christ!
You think it would fucking do everything and turn
the phone off?
But these headphones, however, what are these headphones?
Oh, these are Audio Technica. Hello, I'm not picking up the phone. Oh my God, hold on. Guys, this is a real podcast done in a real home, like for real. We're not professionals. This is like real life. So
for sure, yeah. My film degree comes from IMDb.
Yeah.
Poor York.
Oh, York University. So how you doing, John?
Good. Yeah, I just came over the flu, or got over the flu. I had the flu, and it's always it's a mixed blessing to be sick because you use that to your advantage to garner sympathy, gain sympathy, garner.
I don't actually know any grammar. I'm going to pronounce grammar.
Yeah, Wallace and Grommer.
Yeah, I don't know what the correct term is, but you were super sick?
I was super sick, super sick.
Did you have the weird fever dreams?
Oh yeah, I had so many fever dreams, and it was terrible because I was taking. I knew I was insane, and so I just didn't make sense. It's I don't know. I can't even verbalize just how feverish my dreams were because I feel like I might fall down that hole.
Yeah, you know what? I remember the only fever dream I had that wasn't like total nonsense was basically a torture dream. I was dreaming that I was looking over at a glass of water that was actually there, and I was so thirsty and dehydrated, and I drank it. And then I kept drinking it, but it wasn't doing anything. And that's because I was asleep having a fever dream of doing that.
Yeah.
So,
I dreamt that my sheets weren't covering everyone in my bed. And it wasn't that there was a person in my bed.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There was nobody in my bed. It was just me, but my brain made it so that I needed to spread out my sheets to protect everyone in the bed, even though I knew there was no one in the bed. It's so weird. It felt I've never had Lyme disease. Do you know what Lyme disease is?
Yeah, it scares me. I got into a Wikipedia thing reading about that.
That stuff. Apparently, you have no control of your reflexes or your ability to really do anything. And I was speaking with a teacher at a yoga studio, and she was saying how when she was camping, she got Lyme disease, and she's got a whole arsenal of medication. And she was just saying how one time she couldn't make rice despite the fact she knew how to put water in a pot to boil it, but she just couldn't make that connection of arm to pot to water to stove. There was just something blocking her.
That is genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pretty terrible. But the other aspect of the fever dream was that this was at Christmas, and so I got whole control of the TV remote and sofa. And Christmas, it was good cable.
So you had a real sicky rewatch thing going on. So did you watch new stuff? Did you rewatch stuff you'd seen a bunch?
What did I do? I was overloaded. I felt like a kid in a candy store. I felt like I just felt like there was just so much stuff to rewatch. And this Christmas, I realized like it doesn't matter. I think if you make a good Christmas movie, you're destined to just be a staple every year in Office Christmas Party with T.J. Miller and Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend. That's it. That's her name, right? Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend.
Ooh, this is an episode of Throwing Shade with John. I like this. Can this be a new segment? Throwing Shade with John. Well, you get a fucking nickname that like cuts you down to your core.
Well, that's who she is, right? What's her name? It's not Mimi Rogers. What's her name?
Oh my God, you actually don't know?
No, it's Angela.
No.
It's okay. You're putting me on here.
Oh,
but,
it's good. It's good.
But Throwing Shade is also an excellent podcast. That wasn't EW's top.
Oh, it
podcast.
is. Okay, I should have known.
Throwing Shade is with let me see if I can and record. I'm feminasty Aaron Gibson, and I'm homosensual Brian Safi, and we take a weekly look at issues important to gays and ladies and treat them with much respect. That's their call letter. But
Okay.
what the hell were we just talking about?
We were talking about.
gotta do
Oh my God! I don't remember her name.
No.
She was in X-Men.
She was in
the Daily Show.
She was in Sorkin's show.
In the Sorkin show. Olivia Munn.
That's
Olivia
it.
Munn.
I don't like that last name.
Munn. It's not bad.
I don't like saying it. I don't like spelling it. It just sounds kind of like
Munn.
Oh, like there's an oral filth to it. Like there's an oral like grossness to it.
Like ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear he likes to mun.
Or like honey.
I heard she likes to mun.
Honey, I just did the laundry and there was some mun on your clothes.
Oh, gross. Now I'm not going to be able to unthink that or unsee that.
You can't
metaphorically.
You can't Olivia Munn it. Or on it. Anyway,
Now I got
poor girl.
Munn
So
on the
the
brain.
whole point, all of that to say is that despite Office Christmas Party making a box office killing or not this year, for the next 10 years, it's going to be, on TV or it's going to be on Bravo. Like The Family Stone was a movie made by the producer of Sideways in 2004 with Craig T. Nelson, Diane Keaton, Luke Wilson, Sarah Jessica Parker, Dermot Mulroney, Claire Danes.
I never heard of this.
Yeah, it came out in like 2004. Rachel McAdams, right in the Rachel McAdams year of Wedding Crasher, Red Eye, Mean Girls, like that big year for her.
Right.
And Diane, I think, had just come off some.
Is this a Diane Keaton movie?
It's a family movie, but it's a
family movie.
It's like it takes place over like 3 days in Christmas, and like it's about ball buster Sarah Jessica Parker and the family not getting together. Regardless, it's an okay movie, but at Christmas it plays all the perfect.
It
cards.
hits all the notes. Yeah, it's true though, because one of my favorite Christmas movies that is not a good Christmas movie, according to I guess critics and a lot of people who've seen it not when they were kids, Jingle All the Way. I love Jingle All the Way, but people fucking hate that movie.
I mean, it was fun as a kid, and then the older you get, it's just the humor is kind of lame. But then,
yeah, but it's charming. The thing is, I can't not look at it through that nostalgic lens. And Phil Hartman, it gets those Phil Hartman points playing the smarmy creep, like
there's a
hey buddy, like really just.
He has a great line where Arnold I'm so glad you brought up Jingle All the Way, because I was worried that I wasn't going to talk about it because I have scatterbrain and I had a fever dream. But there's a part in Jingle All the Way when Schwarzenegger's stealing the Turbo Man and he lights one of the manger on fire, and then
when he's wearing the jetpack and he's doing the whole thing.
No, he's in home. He's in the suburbs, and like the reindeer got drunk on the eggnog, and it does
okay,
something.
Yeah.
Hartman goes and collects the burning head, and he goes Balthazar.
Balthazar.
That's a good reading, and then. But yeah, more tragic than anything is just the reminder that poor Jake Lloyd at least has one good movie to that people replay.
Didn't he get arrested recently?
Yeah, I was reading up on him because he was in Jingle All the Way, and so I'm just like, okay, this kid has I hope he's having a good time, and
I genuinely hope so too, because I mean, it must be so shitty to have been in something where like you're just constantly harangued by internet neckbeards who are just like, these movies were terrible, and you were a stilted actor, even though that fucking Natalie Portman, who is fantastic, and Ewan McGregor, who's fantastic, and even Hayden Christensen, who's not bad. If you've seen him in other stuff, he's not as bad as he is in that movie. They're all terrible because of the direction.
But the kid definitely took. But
he took a beating.
But he's
a fucking kid.
But he also, I think, is diagnosed with schizophrenia and is on pills to medication to resolve that. And like at the same time, he was thrown into that bullshit at the age of 12, 11. And you got to go through school with that shit.
Yeah.
So I think there should be like an AMA request for this kid where we're just like, we're sorry. Because like I think the internet could at this point apologize to him entirely, because it's not it's just
the problem is there were like a couple of interviews that were done with like some channel or gaming thing or whatever. I don't know what it was exactly, but basically they were talking to Jake Lloyd, and Jake Lloyd, like, he's developed in a way where he has this like weird overly sarcastic defense mechanism thing, which is, and it's like kind of nerdy and like,
I mean, he's no stud, right? He's not.
No, but it's like weirdly, like, not. And I don't want to get shit for saying this, but like, a little autistic-y. I don't know if you can use the term, but like a little bit like where like social interactions are like a sore point, and not just like from lack of social interaction, like it might be like a developmental thing or something.
Just this one movie punished him and hurt him so badly, damaged him.
I don't know. It was like a super strange interaction that felt like it made me so uncomfortable.
He's a victim of just that whole endeavor.
But but it was him just being like you think that it was a movie, and like just being really like snide and sarcastic. And
IMDb says he has schizophrenia. IMDb says that he went to film studies, and IMDb says that he's like assistant directing and doing behind the scenes stuff. Good for him.
Good for him, because it was just man, that must suck to grow up in the Hollywood machine.
I feel so bad for him. I mean, I'm so empathetic for this guy's situation. And then
he's just a fucking kid actor.
And I'm sure he made a terrible decision where he burned all his Phantom stuff. I'm sure I think he got rid of all of his Phantom stuff. I'm sure whatever he had, any props, anything. I'm sure one day he came home from school after a terrible day of bullying and was just like, fuck this, and just was like, I'm tired of this. My life is no longer going to be this. And when you're that young, it's like you only know so much about life.
Yeah.
But that was my rewatch, watching Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way.
But now, thankfully, this kid can now be remembered for years to come for being the kid in the kind of satirical Christmas movie. Because it's not a good mess. There's no good message in that movie.
It's kind of dark. It's a little on the dark side. It's a little bit cynical. Sinbad is the male guy. Oh, and there's that whole thing that was on Reddit recently about people misremembering Sinbad being in a movie called either Shazam or Kazam. Which one was the
That's Shaq.
Shaq, yeah,
Shaq's in Kazam.
But in Kazam, right? But the internet, there's like this whole thing on Reddit where did you hear about this?
No.
So the internet misremembered, it's the idea of how false memories spread. But basically, one person was like, "There's a movie called Shazam starring Sinbad." And there isn't.
Yeah.
But then other people were like, no, I remember that.
Oh, no.
And it became this thing. And it was, I don't know if it started on Reddit, but it gained popularity on Reddit. And this became this thing. And finally, there were people writing articles about the fact that, like, this wasn't a movie, but this is how false memories spread.
Wow.
It was a whole thing.
That sounds great. That sounds like exactly what we strive to do every week in our podcast, where we try and get that filter out that rubbish of people misremembering movies. It's like,
and we do it. We're guilty of doing it on the show. But then you come back next week and you're like, oh, I got to atone for this.
We got to talk about the mishaps, but
calling Paul Verhoeven German. Come on, no, I forgive you.
Sinbad in Shazam. What world do we live in? This sounds like what Trump would think.
But here's the thing: if you believe in the multiverse, do you believe there is a slice of the multiverse where that movie actually exists?
It's a movie about a magical mailman who creates Christmas toys.
So it's just his character from Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in this universe, Shazam is the song they sing at Christmas when you're on a sleigh ride.
Oh my God. Shazam.
Yeah, but it's not a song. You just say Shazam.
Oh, okay.
And it's and
like Shazam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, with that, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so then that was one movie. And then what else was I rewatching and watching? Speaking of rewatching and rewatching, there's a new Netflix show on called The OA.
Yeah, I've heard both very good things and very bad things about that show.
Okay, see, whatever. And now we're at the point where Lil Keith is desperate to watch it with me because it's he's watched some episodes and he really wants to watch them with me through fresh eyes. And I don't know about you, but do you ever feel like you're less likely or more stubborn to watch something based on enthusiasm, or just on not that I don't think Little Keith's opinion is on matter, our taste in things are very different, but it's just when someone's enthusiasm is really hammering home that you should watch this, I'm becoming more and more regressive into giving in and wanting to watch it. What was it?
Breaking Bad being the ultimate example.
Breaking Bad
you haven't seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah, The Wire was like that, and then it was I think what happened was that once Breaking Bad was the big thing, I'm like, oh, here's my chance to sneak in and watch The Wire instead of having people hound me. And then when I finished The Wire, I was like, all right, time for Breaking Bad, I guess. But it's that kind of it's a. I feel like I put my heel in the mud like a mule, and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. You can drag me to watch your OA, but I'm.
there is a danger in totally overselling something.
Borat was like that for me. I remember couldn't watch it because it was just all the lines were being tossed at me. And Wedding Crashers that summer, and anything with Will Ferrell for fucking a decade.
I know, and every other fucking guy who couldn't actually have a real conversation in high school, what would they do is they'd quote Wedding Crashers, they'd quote any Will Ferrell movie that was out at the time. they'd quote Borat, or the classic one, people that spoke. Did you have this? People that spoke only in Simpsons quotes.
Yeah.
Like they would just ping Simpsons quotes back and forth to each other. That was how they communicated. It drove me fucking crazy.
I bet. I love The Simpsons too. But
yeah, for sure. It's an incredible show, all that. But people who literally they won't have a conversation. They'll just say Simpsons quotes to each other.
I guess to one up one another. I knew a kid in school who used to do that. He would like recite episodes straight up, and it was kind of like, what did you say, Asperger-y? Or autistic-y?
Oh God, yeah. I apologize. I don't mean, but like there is like it's a thing.
Is it?
A little
I
bit,
don't know.
What?
I just think of Jesse Eisenberg and The Social Network. That's that thing.
Yeah, just okay. Let's say socially challenged.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's better. It all sounds offensive. Ugh, I can't.
If you've made it this far in episode 7 of
then you'll understand.
Rewatch.
We mean well. If we make a mistake, let us know in the comment section below. It's not a YouTube video. Haha. No comment section.
There could be written mail.
Oh God, yeah, we do have an email. I can't remember it, so I'm not going to say it, but it'll be in the description of the show.
Yeah.
So send us an email there if you think we're full of shit. You can tell us. And we'll read it and we'll go, oh, that sucks. Why are they mad?
Oh, they could, yeah, I don't care.
Or I'll go, fuck you. I don't care about what you think.
What's that thing when you redact? It's redacting. When you take a black marker and you're just like, you wipe it out.
We'll publish your emails. So
with the black mark.
With the black mark over your email, but we're going to publish emails. So watch out.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, email. No, we will. If you write us an email, we will absolutely talk about it.
And read it on the air.
So be forewarned. Anything you send us, it's open for publication. We won't give your email away because we're not assholes, but we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's.
And we'll use your first name even. So watch out. Make a fake first name.
I think I'm gonna make some fake emails and email you and pretend like we're getting some real fans.
Oh yeah, that's how that's world building. That's how you build a successful show. We got to have user interaction because right now the show's not even up yet, but it will be up by the time you're listening to it. But then I don't know how much further after this stuff has happened. So you'll be like, wow, this is from 2017. This will be on the air in 2048. In the wastes, it'll be broadcasting like stations in Fallout where you have 30s music or on the ground.
When you and I are now thespian auteur realists, and we don't want to put audio commentaries on our material, we're just going to put random podcasts over our films, even though they have nothing to do with the film you're watching.
I'd actually like to see that as a thing.
We could sabotage DVD printing places and just put podcasts over where the Steven Soderbergh commentary should be.
I like that you think that there's still DVD printing places.
Well, aren't there?
Well, yeah, probably, but I feel like there's 2 in China and they're just doing everything.
Because there's VVS here.
There is VVS.
VVS is very, very shitty movies. That's because it's
sorry, I know somebody that works there. Apologies to VVS, but it was a sick burn, right? Even you'd admit that.
I mean, they make those movies that 4 Academy Award winners are in that 4 distributors ignored at Sundance, and then it's okay, well, Mila Jovovich and Robert De Niro movie about a farm and a magical robot. Here you go. There
you go. That's a straight to DVD Oscar bait.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's when you looked at the VHSs on the bookends, it's Universal movie or a Paramount movie. When you see VVS, just skip that.
That's it. But I
think we watched a movie you worked on where VVS was in the theater, and I was like,
a movie I worked on?
Yeah, I think so. But that's just Canada, right? VVS has control of some distribution.
Yeah, there are some.
But they're Alliance now, right? Are they Alliance Atlantis?
I think VVS is part of Alliance now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then.
Excuse me, I'm sniffing a bit today.
Oh, that's
sorry, that was terrible.
That sounds like you got a dry booger that just feels like a
I didn't realize how good these mics were. That is awful. I apologize. You know what? Maybe I'll bleep that in the episode.
Okay.
And then people go, "What did he do?" And then you won't know.
He ate a booger, everybody.
Hey, no. John's making up what I did now. No, I did not do that.
I'm so sick from that sight of eating that booger.
Oh, there we go. That's part of the mythology now. I ate a booger. Sean's a booger eater.
Speaking of mythology, the mythology of the Christmas movie. I watched that It's a Wonderful Life too, and you know
I've only seen that once or twice when I was a little younger. So is it worth a rewatch?
I mean,
at all?
I think that movie is probably one of the top 5 movies that has ever been rewatched more than any other movie. Like
Yeah.
when you think about movies that have been rewatched, this goddamn thing is like 1,000,000 years old, like almost. I think it's like 80 years old, maybe.
Who's in it? Is it just old
it's
people?
Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart
Oh,
goes to watch
is it Jimmy Stewart?
I was
Is it
speaking
that
of this.
guy?
Yeah, well, you know the
Okay.
Simpsons, where
That's
it's like
terrible.
My money's in Phil's house and in Fred's house, and like that kind of. But the premise of that movie is George. Like now, you know, I'm gonna jump again, but what's that shoe with a salesman? Death of a Salesman. Willy Loman. You know
Yeah,
this
yeah,
thing?
yeah. I saw the one with Dustin Hoffman.
Okay, well, the premise of that play is that he's a guy, an old man lamenting about his life, and he's got a successful boy or whatever, and it's just that whole retrospect. He's the tragic American hero, and
Right.
George Bailey is the It's a Wonderful Life hero, and he works at a bank, I think, or a loan office in a small town where like this old Scrooge motherfucker is trying to take down everyone one like thing at a time, and George Bailey wants to save everyone, but he doesn't realize he's like he's a reluctant hero. He doesn't want to be everyone. Anyway, the whole last 15 minutes of the movie are Christmas, and so every year you kind of endure this man's failures and his suicide attempts, and then it's like
Right. Is the whole like premise built around the fact that he kills himself, and then there's like an angel who
he's about to kill himself, but
about
then,
to.
yeah, and then this angel shows up. Fantasy alert! It's like, imagine you take the movie. Give me a movie, Tyler.
Star Wars. That's all I can think of.
A New Hope.
Yeah.
Okay, take A New Hope and take the last third act, or take the last act and take out all the science fiction and just put drama. Like all of a sudden, like this movie that you're watching is now throwing in a completely different genre that changes the whole.
So
rules.
right, it's serious because I haven't seen this in so long. So it's serious all the way along. It's this dramatic film, and then it's like, oh, it's a Christmas movie.
And now it's a fantasy Christmas movie. There's an angel taking you to another dimension where there's a reality where you weren't born, and so this is what happens.
That's a little dark with the suicide attempt. Do you see him with like a gun or something?
You see him about to jump the bridge into a very convincing, like snowy river. But then the angel jumps in and he's like, "Oh no, you should do this." And then look, Daddy, every time a teacher rings a bell, the angel gets his wings. But I think on Reddit too, just like Reddit is now going to become like an IMDb of sorts. We're just going to take it at face value. Like whenever I see TIL,
yeah,
I'm always
I
like,
learned.
so I'm like, oh, that must be true because like TILs are always 100% true.
Well, I mean, yeah. I feel like if there are mistakes or stuff, people will vet that in the comments a little bit. But Reddit is my love affair with Reddit is long over. I still read it regularly, but I do it disdainfully.
The TILs of IMDb trivia drive me insane. Where they're just like, today I learned that.
It's just somebody picking out at one of the hundreds of IMDb trivia for any particular movie and saying that's a thing.
I'm trying to think what a good example of that. Like today, I learned that Marlon Brando hated his performance in The Godfather, and it's like upvoted by 40,000. That's my favorite fucking movie. Holy shit! Like they're talking about it on Reddit. But no, the today I learned on Christmas was that apparently with It's a Wonderful Life, the Library of Film Congress Preservation, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
They said something like they misplaced the rights to it, or the syndication rights or something. So then It's a Wonderful Life became free right away as public domain, and that's why it kept playing over the years over Christmas, because it was free. And so it just they kind of forced a classic on everyone instead of like it growing naturally.
So it was just it was basic economics that we saw that movie.
Yeah, and I guess when people are, because like when you're at Christmas, I guess channel surfing and rewatching, it's like, oh, I'll watch the last 10 minutes of Jingle All the Way, but because of my mind over matter, I'm going to fill in the other 80 minutes and be like, oh yeah, this happened.
This movie.
Yeah, but
did you do the because people watch Home Alone now? That's like a Christmas movie.
I skip over it now because I've done it to death. Maybe in a couple of years I'll be back at it. But
see, I haven't done it in years. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh man, really? My favorite element of that movie now is the movie within the movie, the Angels with Filthy Souls. Like,
oh, hey, you dirty animal.
Well, yeah, because they show in both movies instances of the protagonist murdering someone, and you're like, well, if this was a real movie, would it just be this murderer going around killing people?
Yeah.
But I always found it ironic that this kid is watching this very violent movie, but then he's about to do something even more violent in this fake world, but yet in this movie that he's watching, there's a lot of like meta going on.
And it's like a weirdly, well, anyways, people talk about it all the time, like how much torture, like they would be dead, those two guys in that movie.
And I think Home Alone invented the kind of stunt work that creates this like super hyper violent cartoon reality in a kids movie.
Yeah, because it's like, slapstick, but it's also kind of realistic.
Yeah,
But not too realistic. You're not seeing like skin peeling off from third-degree burns.
Right.
But you're seeing red. Yeah,
You're
it really
seeing-
was like a Tex Avery cartoon kind of come to life.
And the children that just watched it throughout the 90s, like VHS crazy, and
Yeah.
like parents are like tired of watching fucking Home Alone all the
Yeah,
fucking
I used to
time.
watch it all the time. I watched Mrs. Doubtfire a lot when I was a kid.
These Chris Columbus movies, and
Yeah.
like is he a good director? Is he an auteur? Is he someone who, when you watch his movie, they're consistent? Like,
I don't know if they are anymore, but I mean, they were. I think Chris Columbus in the '90s is a pretty singular kind, force in that like his movies are particular. Although,
like a Nancy Myers, like a male Nancy Myers.
Yeah.
Like these fantasy movies where white people are super rich and their problems are solved rather quickly thanks to money. Like,
everybody is kind of rich in those movies. It doesn't Miss Doubtfire, like the house they have is a huge house in San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's like a million. Well, now. I mean, even then, though, in the 90s, that must have been a real pet,
it's like, I don't know, like growing up watching Mrs. Doubtfire and like, I'm sorry, we live in the planet Earth where families and parents argue all the time and fight, and there are some real shouts, and like, people heal after a couple of days of like a family fight. And when you watch Mrs. Doubtfire as a young kid, you could kind of, see yourself in this situation where the parents are fighting, but there's never any economic trauma or turmoil in these movies. And it's like, as a kid, it's like, oh, they fought, but
they're rich.
But they're rich, so that's okay. Ultimately, Dad's got a big house and Mom's got the big house. But
well, no, isn't Dad lives in a shitty apartment that's also huge?
Yeah,
He's
got 5 rooms, and like he got fired from his animator job. But yeah, these are fantasies. Columbus lives in these fantasies, and I think I heard somebody describe his work as he's an accidental success, or he comes like when he shoots, he gets good stuff by accident. It's like,
really. I wonder though, because is that true? Do you think?
I think so, because his material is like, if you look at like it's not consistent ever. Like his Christmas with the Cranks, or his
wait, hold on. He directed Christmas with the Cranks.
Wrote it. Joe Roth directed it, or did right?
Man.
Yeah, he wrote it. Roth directed it. Yeah, he wrote it, but he directed Pixels last summer.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He did that, boy. And anyway, whatever. He's got his money. He's got his Harry Potterness. He brought Harry Potter to life.
Right, true. He did that, and the first one was okay, although the best one was number 3 for sure, Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah, he was on Reddit this holiday season about his Children of Men. Then they called Nat's going to be a Christmas movie now because of the nativity scene, or it's a new nativity story.
Yeah, I like that, because Reddit was like, oh, it's underrated, and I'm like, in what world? When it came out, it was critically acclaimed.
Actually, and it has I didn't know this, but what a fascinating production story, because I think Children of Men killed his ambition because he worked so hard on it, and then he took a break for 5 years. But Stacy Snyder, have you heard of this name? She ran Stacy Shear, and I don't know the name, but like she ran Universal during this time,
right?
And I think what happened was that Cuarón kept going back to Children of Men, wanting to make it, but then he got offered Harry Potter, and then when he got Harry Potter, Universal was like, okay, now you can make your Children of Men. I don't understand it, but here's $50 million. We trust you. Go for it.
Yeah.
And so he's making it, and these are brutal, endeavors that he's coming after. Him and Chivo. Him and Chivo are choreographing the long takes that the movie is now famous for.
Yep.
And they spend 3 days setting it up, and they keep having to retake it and recut it, and it's just never perfect, and just by blind chance that it works. But then by the time the production's over, I think Universal, she wasn't there anymore. So then this new guy is coming in to like,
oh no,
what kind of movie? This is I think Variety described it as like a sci-fi without any gadgets, without any bankable stars, without anything truly optimistic. It's not even an awards picture per se, and like
no.
Julianne Moore gets spoilered in the head 20 minutes in, and a lot of everything about that movie. It's like it's so perfect because you just know that how hard it is for movies like that to even make it to the finish line.
Yeah, absolutely. To have that, to be uncompromising and all of those things that like every regular selling point that you would need to have for like a major film. Because at that point, Clive Owen wasn't really a huge star.
I mean, thankfully he had closers Oscar nomination, and
Yeah.
Sin City. You know, like I feel like if you're in
Yeah.
Sin City in 2004,
That's
that
it.
brings your
He had some critical clout, but he wasn't an A-lister. He couldn't
No.
open a movie to, you know, and what was the budget? You said 50 million?
50 million, yeah.
And that's like, you know, that's a fairly big budget, you know, where they want that to make some money, and it did. It did very well, didn't it?
No, I don't think. I think
Really?
30 million, or it kind of teetered away. It was a very
But
depressing
it
movie.
must have done well on DVD because DVDs were still a thing then.
Now it's coming back. I think now just because of like where we are in the future or where we are in today's society. But no, like even still, it's
yeah.
hard to. It was a hard sell. It still is a hard sell. It's a very
Yeah.
bleak movie, but it's gorgeous and it's actually kind of fun if you can embrace that kind of like
Yeah.
genre. But no, I was reading that this article because they're doing the retrospect with him, and yeah, he Owen was like, I don't know anything about this movie. I'm just going to trust Alfonso, and I'll do whatever you say, because he never envisioned a character. He just envisioned like a person just going through the motions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's a rewatch, I guess.
Yeah, that actually would be. I haven't seen that one in a while. I mean, it is grim. It's really grim. But what was I going to say? You brought something up that made me have a question. I don't remember.
The budget.
No.
Clive, because like the other part I found interesting was the studio element, like the people who like Verhoeven and Starship Troopers is the same situation. They had the 50 to 60 million to make their war picture.
Yeah.
And the guy at Sony was in the middle of leaving, and so he didn't know that Verhoeven was shooting like
A satire, like
like the tone of that movie is the most surprising thing. I love
Yeah.
talking about Verhoeven, you know.
Yeah.
But again, it's like you get this movie when all is said and done, and it's like it's the perfect time to make a movie when there's a changing of the guard at a studio, you know.
Yeah, because you can kind of slip one in.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, the money's already been allocated. The only thing they can do is kill you on the distribution.
Lloyd Braun of ABC, that's what he did before he left. He gave Lost. He created Lost
Right.
because he was like, I'm
It
leaving.
was like a fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah, it was a fucking it was like a mic drop, and you get these
Yeah.
good shows or movies from these mic drops.
Speaking of mic drops, started a show. It's interesting. I 2 shows over the last little while. This has been my new watch for both of us. Started the fall with Gillian Anderson and what's his name from 50 Shades of Grey, Jamie Dornan.
Yeah.
And it's a weird experience because I watched that, and then after 2 seasons of that, switched to Hannibal.
Okay.
The show
Yeah.
on Brian Fuller's show.
What's the Gillian Anderson show?
The Fall is the
Fall, yeah.
It's a show about her and Jamie Dornan, who's this serial killer. And I realized into this, Vicky, my wife Vicky, sees it a little differently. She thinks they're closer than I do. I think because The Fall is this show. It's Gillian Anderson, who grew up in England, so she's doing her British voice,
Okay.
which is convincing because she like grew up there.
Right. She's got like a South African voice too in that King of Scotland thing.
Oh, maybe she could
Maybe.
probably do that.
I
but
never
she,
saw it.
yeah. So we're watching this show, and it really is austere and kind of like it's got this like atonal score and this like very like spare production design and editing.
BBC?
Yeah, BBC. And so you initially think it's like this real auteur-driven kind of serious-minded thing about a serial killer, but then as it goes along, it what was the term I used? It Downton Abbey'd me, where Downton Abbey starts off and you're like, oh, this is a period drama, and you realize it's a fucking soap opera within a little bit. This show did the same thing, where I got into like the season 2, and you realize that the writers don't have an end point, so they're spinning their wheels, where this one serial killer should have been caught, and then when he does get caught, there's all these other things and these like random like, oh, there's an Irish thug that he visited, and like it really like spins out of control, but still with this very serious-minded approach and this like tone. And I feel bamboozled, having watched that. But then going to Hannibal has this kind of hyper stylized Brian Fuller thing, which
Fuller thing, and you would think that he would have a problem with consistency, or like what is it when you want to jerk off but not come yet?
Oh my God! Apologies for any. It's
but because like it's kind of like with Ryan Murphy, I find the same thing. Ryan Murphy stuff, it starts off great, but there's no follow through. There's no.
They're stringing you along.
Well, yeah, and like there's no
release.
Exactly. Yeah. There's
release.
The release happens early, and then you're stuck with the mess for the rest of it after.
Yeah.
Fuller, because he had Pushing Daisies is the kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like you start with the gimmick, and then it's like, well, how far can we stretch this gimmick before we're just
Well, Hannibal
wild.
got canceled after 3 seasons, and I don't know how well they ended it, but I like that because sometimes when they get the cancellation order, if they know a few episodes in, they'll write things to an end. So having only 3 seasons and being a network show that only had 13 episodes a season, which is cool because they didn't do the full network order. They did the kind of new network order.
Right.
So watching that, it's pulpier and more stylized. Mads Mikkelsen plays Hannibal Lecter. You have Claire Danes' husband, who's British, playing the William. I can't remember his name. He's the main guy from the books.
The Edward Norton CSI guy.
Sorry, what?
Edward Norton was that guy in Red Dragon, and CSI guy was that guy in Manhunter.
Yes, yeah, and so they're great. I didn't know he was British.
Dr. Will, no, it's
Dr. William something. Yeah, Will. I can't remember his name. But we'll figure it out. We're professionals. But that show, on its face is maybe more like American TV-ish. It's a little pulpier. It's a little bit more...
The colors stand out.
And it's a little bit less kind of reserved, like the British show. But I think that when you dig in after doing a few episodes the other night, I feel like that show actually has more going on. And it takes a more, there's like a murder of the week kind of approach.
Yeah.
But I feel like it works better because they're able to build a larger story arc without burning it right away. Whereas The Fall is very singular, at least initially. And then they burn that and start adding stuff after that. And then it doesn't really work.
No.
So it was weird seeing that and realizing that sometimes you can watch these shows and you can get tricked by that British, it's like it has everything that like an auteur movie has, the quiet soundtrack, the moody cinematography, the whispery acting,
brooding, right?
The brooding. It's very brooding.
Everything about the locale and just you can feel the depression and the chill in these people's bones.
And there's a lot of atmosphere, but that can there can be nothing underneath that, and that's what I found with that show. Whereas watching Hannibal, you might look at it and you go, oh, this is like real American TV, but then you're watching it and it's like it does have more. There's a lot more magical realism and dream logic and stuff. It just has more going on, and I feel like it works. But so Hannibal was a real pleasure, a real Lawrence Fishburne being a little yelly, but it's
a dangerous game, that Hannibal. I just know that a lot of people like it only after the fact, and it's like, well, why? It's like, I bet Brian Fuller, how many failed projects has this guy been through?
Well, he got dumped off Star Trek.
He got dumped off Star Trek, and I think he did a lot of the heavy lifting for this new Star Trek. But
he did, and they say it's like a
creative
positive
difference thing.
No, but the scheduling. But I mean, I honestly, I feel like there's maybe more to it than that. And
you think he's expensive? You think they did that thing where they fluff him for ideas and they give him the boot and they get someone who's costs less and get them to run it, and then they fire that person after the first or second season?
I think it honestly has everything to do with Paramount's. They've seemed to be inconsistent stewards of the Star Trek franchise.
Absolutely, for sure.
Where they have a particular I think schedule to hit with their streaming service, and it's already off to a weird start because they want to offer a streaming service that you pay for, but it may have ads, and then you may have
Paramount
to pay,
exclusive.
Yeah, their own streaming service. Yeah, so already the internet was very put off, and people were into the idea of a show, and people were also put off by the fact that this is another prequel show. It's set before the original series with Captain Kirk and all that.
Well, there's also the one with
it's after
even before that one.
It's after Enterprise, but before the original series.
Okay,
so
before the Abrams Kirk. Or before the
original Kirk, but the timeline, it's prime timeline, so it's Kirk timeline, not Abrams timeline. So I know.
Did you hear my eye roll?
That's it. I think you could. You just hear his eyes went white.
Holy shit!
But yeah, so already the internet was a little bit put off by the fact that it was another prequel, but they were willing to go along with it because Fuller, it's a Fuller, and Fuller was involved in Deep Space Nine.
Right.
He was involved in Voyager, but we forgive him for that. But some of the better stuff, that was his doing, and he was very passionate about Star Trek and about what it means and all this stuff, and he took it seriously.
Yeah.
So when he got bumped out, you can tell that, in general, when a studio is saying, that I'm sure they're deathly afraid of the backlash because, a lot of people, the hardcore fans, their only interest was that, and that can, honestly, with a Star Trek TV show, that can make or break it.
Sure.
If the hardcore fans abandon it, then it's going to sour the atmosphere around that show, and I think they're really, it may have already happened.
Are you getting new people with the John Chu movies? Like, are you getting more Trekkies from that, or are you holding on to the Trekkies that are in the middle of losing?
No, I think you're with the current movies. I think they are actively losing most of the hardcore Trekkies. You'll never. Okay, to be real, you won't lose a Trekkie ever. You know, anybody that loves TNG will always love TNG. Right. But those people at some point, like I think for me, it was after Into Darkness, I was like, whatever. I watched the new one. I'll always watch them. But my level of interest in them has, you know, I'm less likely to see it in the movie theater. So if you have that times however many Star Trek fans are, I'm sure that, you know, I think the third one actually did do well financially. It was a success, but it wasn't a huge success.
It was just this like schedule streaming necessity. Like they needed that third Star Trek before we lost Pine and Quinto's contract, and we got a 4-year-old Pine playing the Kirk character now because of the scheduling problems.
Yeah, I don't know, but all that to say that, like, I think going into Star Trek and where they are now with the TV show, that, you know, that goodwill with fans, whether it translates into dollars and cents, I don't know. There might be an algorithm you could figure out there, but they've poisoned the well already a little bit with the movies, and I think this was the chance, this was the hope, because everybody said Star Trek needs a television series to really work, and I think that's true, because even with the original series, even with Next Generation, the movies were always good kind of asides, but they were never as good as the show, because the show could kind of dig into these moral quandaries and have these complex kind of evolving storylines.
Yeah, the times have changed, man. Like, you know, the Star Trek now, it's like make it sleep for 10 years and then come back to it, or just you know, leave it alone, or I don't know.
The thing is, I think that I don't know if they'll ever get it back. We'll see. I sincerely hope I'm wrong about the show. And if the show somehow happens to be good without Fuller's involvement, because apparently initially he was like, I'll still be heavily involved, and then there was like 2 layers to that, like pullback, where it was like, I'll still be involved, and then it's like, I'm not involved at all, but like I laid the groundwork and I have a good team, and there are good people involved still on the show, so I really hope it works. But it's just like the Paramount's involvement scares me, you know, at least with their track record with the other Star Trek things,
forcing things,
but also it's all built around this streaming service that they want to get off the ground. And you know, like, I get it, I guess, but like the original Star Trek shows were such a weird success because Next Gen was sold directly into syndication, and that's how it became this mega hit.
Sure,
because it was just syndicated everywhere. It didn't have a network per se.
It
did have a network, I think CBS in the States, but it was sold in it so like you could see it new all over the world, and all sorts of like affiliate stations and stuff bought it directly. It was a really, from a business standpoint, it was pretty cool. But Star Trek, I hope we can go boldly.
I mean, I don't care about Star Trek. I like.
No,
funny
it's
thing
good.
Is, like, I like Star Wars more. I can say Grand Moff Tarkin.
Come on, John.
And then I can say stuff like Neelix and Commander. And,
wait, Neelix is Star Trek.
Yeah, I know these things.
You're
okay. But like, yeah.
But I like that Neelix is your pull. That's great.
But I think, because Neelix is the space chef from.
This is he's the space chef.
And then you got not Donahue, it's Cisco. That's the Deep Space Nine one.
Cisco.
And then you got the whole cast of Next Generation. You got Deanna of Troy and
Deanna of Troy, nice.
And Gates McFadden. And then you got Jedi. No, you got Data.
Yeah. Hey, you know some stuff. You know some Star Trek stuff.
But Star Trek is definitely like the pantheon of rewatch. Like, how many people can rewatch that shit over and over?
I did the full like a couple years ago. I did all of Next Gen, all of Deep Space Nine. You know, these are 7 seasons of network TV orders in the 90s.
You were scrolling through Reddit at the time. Like, your eyes weren't just glued exclusively.
I was. Vicky, maybe not. But it was you know, I don't blame anybody for looking at their phone when they do that. It was 26 episodes. No, I think there were episodes where I did too. There must have been. But 26 episodes per season. Yeah. So those are huge season orders, and so there's bound to be filler when you do that many TV
in a couple
shows,
years when you're on your life sentence, or when you're in jail for 8 hours or 8 days or 8 years, you'll have those Star Treks in your mind. And
you
that'll
can
be nice.
Run through those.
You know, it's like what does that guy do in Game of Thrones where he does the white pupil thing and you go inside the crow's body? So you do the white pupil thing, but you're rewatching all the Star Trek.
I can scry inside of the episode and relive it. Yeah, I did all that, and then Voyager killed that. I got a few seasons into Voyager, and I was like, nah, nope.
I mean, like, imagine that's the other thing too, is the regretting of the rewatch. You know, not just Star Trek, but like even just like, oh, we're gonna watch this, and then like 10 minutes in, you're like, oh fuck, there's 2 hours left of this this thing I forgot was so shitty. Am I gonna bear it, or am I gonna turn it off and let someone else make them?
There are some times where you realize that things should be left in your memory. Nostalgia is good because it's nostalgia, and when you make it the present again, man, I've ruined a couple things that way. Where you rewatch it and you go, "Oh, this was not good, but I liked it because I was a dumb kid, and that's why I liked it." And it's great though. It's not to devalue what dumb kids like, because we all have our dumb kid things.
Sure.
I like Jingle All the Way now, but so maybe I shouldn't rewatch it. Actually,
well, that's the thing.
I should leave it in the past.
But now we're at a point where I cherish channel surfing, and I cherish streaming a lot more than picking. You know, taking the box of Ghost Town with Ricky Gervais and putting the disc in the motherfucking tray and then waiting for the goddamn thing to load. Have you tried putting in a Blu-ray recently?
No.
They need the internet to connect to give you a fucking fresh preview before they can bring you to the menu, before they bring you to the Universal logo.
Are you for real? They have to have an internet connection?
Or if you don't, your Blu-ray machine thinks longer, so you're not going to get to that movie faster. It's ridiculous. And so I was on the Metro yesterday coming back from work, and I found the Blu-ray box of Blu-ray cardboard sheet that hangs between the Blu-ray of it was of Ridley Scott's Robin Hood in French, Robin du Bois, and it's like the DVD, the Blu-ray, like somebody just tossed this like trash.
Wow. How is the movie? I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either, but
are you even gonna watch it?
No, it came out like 6 years ago.
In that weird middle period of like Ridley Scott stuff.
Ridley Scott movie, what an inconsistent bastard.
Hey.
But I was also thinking, I saw a picture of him on.
You're not wrong.
He was in he made that Alien movie, and it's like, oh, it's funny because there's a girl named Ripley, and he's Ridley, and it's like Ripley Scott. Isn't that funny?
Oh yeah. Well, I hope the new Alien is good. Although the trailer left me a little cold.
It looks like very 80s. It looks like
which is maybe better than the other one. I don't know.
Yeah, the other one was fresh and it had Damon Lindelof's stupid name on it. So like obviously you're gonna have like a little bit of a distance to it. There's a kind of
he's not involved in this, right?
No, I don't think so. No, okay. No, he's definitely not.
Thank God.
But Ridley, I don't know. Ridley was like, I really need to make an inconsistent movie without an ending that doesn't make sense. Get this motherfucker who's the king of that shit.
Whoa. Like John coming out with guns blazing.
And wasn't he like one of the main spears of getting that writer's strike going? Oh, sorry, you're not going to get lost because I'm not getting my internet money. Wasn't that the thing?
I don't know, but I don't have any problem with the writer's strike. I think that was valid. There were some serious issues, and I got to support, as a fellow union member.
That if we didn't have that writer's strike, we wouldn't have the success of Mad Men, because Weiner amassed all these ungilded people to create that show.
Really?
He body snatchered all their good ideas for the first 2 seasons. I'm speculating, and I don't care, but I'm pretty sure he fired the staff every season to get new, cheaper writers, or new writers who just want to get their start. But what a good catch-22! Like, you're creating Mad Men for the first 2 seasons. AMC's first cable show. Also,
yeah, I know there were some controversies around how he ran the writers' room.
Yeah,
there was
but he got his start because he was working with actors who weren't hired because there was a writer strike going on.
Yeah,
and because there were just these non-gilded writers working on season 1 of Mad Men, and so it was like, I think like if you listen to the commentary of season 1 of Mad Men, like Rich Sumner, who's in this new video game, Fire Marshal or something.
Firewatch, great game.
Apparently,
great game, and I'm surprised at how much I like him, because when I watched Mad Men for the first time, I was like, I don't know about this guy, but he's great. He's super, and that video game is heartbreaking, but it's fantastic.
I should try that out. But yeah, his character is pretty consistent in that show. And that's another thing, too, I'm realizing over the holidays, is how, proud I am that I've watched all of Mad Men. I'm not a fan of its,
I didn't finish. I have, 3 or 4 episodes to go.
Oh, it was, and, it ends. It's fine. And, the legacy of the show was there. But, that's something that was milked. Really until, milk dust was coming out of those TV teats.
TV teats? TVteats.tv.
I need more show.
Yeah. Farmer.
Oh my God! Can we do that? For our image, can we get a TV with udders, and it's like the Nintendo glove is shooting out film reels out of these udders or something? Oh,
I'm gonna say no, but I want to see that drawn anyway.
The fever dream. So it'd be like a cow udders, but USBs and cords coming out of the TV's udders.
I'm with you because you're my friend, but this is. I want you to draw this for
Okay,
me
yeah.
because I do want to see this.
I kind of want to see it
We'll
too.
put it up on the website just so you
Yeah.
can see the
And, like,
TV teats.
And like the TV would be one of those like grandfather TVs with like the big glass dome.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, the
Anyway.
big curved screen. TV teats. Okay, coming to you on the website soon. TV teats JPEG. TVteats.jpg.
What do you do to teats? You squeeze them? You squoze them?
Squo? I don't know, but squoze sounds like the past tense of squeeze.
Well, I learned the word squoze from...
Is that a real word?
I don't know, but I heard it in private parts.
TIL?
What's that? Today I learned squoze?
Yeah.
Well, isn't it like past tense? Like I squozed it myself?
I thought it was squeezed.
I squeezed it myself?
Yeah,
I like squoze.
fresh squeezed
I like
orange
squoze.
juice. Squoze. Can we make it a word? If we, if you use a word enough, it becomes part of the
It was
language,
it was
right?
written in a script, and it's been like it was captioned on TV. If you watch Private Parts with Howard Stern,
Squoze?
Yeah, he says it in that movie.
Is it? I'm gonna have to look it up.
Squoze. But I mean, he made it up. So when you make up words, that goes like what made it into the dictionary this year that Trump said?
Oh, Bigly?
Is that it? That was
Well,
the word of the
Bigly's
year?
one of them, but he has a number of stupid idiot words that he uses. But
Stupid idiot words.
Stupid idiot words.
You sound like a stupid idiot.
I
when you
sound
say
like a stupid idiot saying that. He's bringing down the conversation for everybody.
a stupid idiot.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
You stupid idiot. It is. That's like a kind of a not a super vulgar insult, but I like it because that's like I remember that from being a kid. You stupid idiot.
I love it. I think I'm gonna
Bring it back. Don't say like you fucking idiot. No, you stupid idiot.
What are you, dumb?
Yeah.
Like really like hard. Oh man.
Yeah.
I gotta rewatch.
You dummy.
So instead of rewatching, now we're just gonna like reappropriate
Old insults.
Yeah, I'm
and
tired.
make them new again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, yeah. So I think this has been a very productive episode 7. I was thinking about like how many 7 movies are there? Like there's that 7 dwarf movie. There's that 7
Movies with 7 in the title.
or 7 movie like set. Like is there 7
Seven-
saws? Are there 7 saws or 8 saws?
There might be 7 saws. There's definitely 7 Harry Potters. I think there's 8.
There's 7.5 Harry Potters
Really?
because there's
Movies?
7 books.
No, but movies.
There's 8 movies. Though.
8 movies. Yeah.
9 if you count Fantastic Teats and Where to Squeeze Them.
I can with the teats. I like it. Fantastic TV teats and where to squeeze them .tv.
And .tv.teat.
Well, hold on. There's a sub.
Well, the 2 dots are the nipples.
Is that like a .co.uk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. // 0 point.
Oh wait, there's like a
Source.
router address.
Well, it's like these things where you just-
192.168.0.1.
when you make up code on the internet, it might lead you to something. And like I feel like anytime you go into a search bar and you just type in gibberish, that gibberish could be the exact thing you need to talk to someone's hitman. Because people on Reddit can post hitman locations. They'll be like, "Oh, I need you to kill this person." So you look on a comments thread and there'll be a link and it'll lead you to a dead link, and then you just
Is this a real thing? But are you talking about the dark web, like .onion, like Tor?
I don't know. I was on Reddit not long ago, and yeah, because
There's the dark web, although apparently
they were talking about how there was this. They were talking about scary threads, and on the scary thread,
Oh,
there's
so
like,
yeah, that's probably more fake. But
Yeah.
there was the dark web, which was you'd run a browser called Tor, and you'd go to .onion sites, and you could like have people killed, and then you could buy guns and buy drugs, and there was like human slavery. It was it was genuinely awful.
I've read about that,
Yeah.
and that's as far as I want to go.
Yeah, and it was apparently like infiltrated by the FBI now.
Okay,
So
good for them.
Yeah,
they went after Hillary, now they're going after the real bad guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, of all the things, like, the Russians and all this political, mumbo jumbo, whatever, Tor and all that shit. It's like, that probably is a good thing to shut down. Like human slavery and fucking assassinations.
Yeah, I read about.
Maybe let's not do that.
Yeah, but it's so many good. You get so many good ideas if you're like a weirdo and you want to write a good horror movie, right?
Yeah, you could go on there and well, I don't know.
Who's a big
the
weirdo?
dark web.
Have you heard of this big weirdo, Max Landis?
Yeah, don't get me started. Don't
I
get me started.
bought my Empire for the year, and he has 4 pages. Empire talked to him for as if Empire's it's already have a hard time for me to love Empire anymore that they have a 4-page spread on Max Landis.
For my own safety and my own sanity, I'm just gonna say no comment.
EW. Let's talk about EW. Another fine publication. EW's Best of Year. Anna Faris's podcast was their favorite podcast of the year.
Wait, yeah, I have heard about that. It's supposed to be good.
It's called
what is it?
Unqualified with Anna Faris. Judging on the title alone, I'm assuming she talks about surgeries, cleaners, car repair, politics, things that she has no qualifications over, but because of her voice and she's married to that stud.
Is that true? Is that what it is about?
I don't know. I didn't read past the first paragraph.
I like that, though. We're getting into speculative fiction right now.
The fourth was the West Wing week recap.
Sorry, there's a West Wing recap podcast that is like currently charting.
Yeah, it stars Josh Malina, who was the Rob Lowe replacement. Rob Lowe was leaving the show, and they invented a character, and this character took over the Rob Lowe bit. And this guy, who's an actor now, rewatches random West Wing episodes, and Bradley Whitford will go on, or
so it's not just a regular, it's like a celebrity rewatch with people that work on the show.
It is a celebrity rewatch, but it's with an actual celebrity who's in the West Wing, who talks about his time on the West Wing. And,
that's cool.
And I guess because the West Wing has a million fucking episodes, because Aaron Sorkin was well fueled, and then NBC was well fueled to like make more shows after, like 25 episodes a season. Jesus, Murphy.
I know. I don't know how people do that and not like. I mean, I guess that's why you have those filler episodes. You can't do 26 episodes a season and they're all great.
Exactly.
I think it's statistically impossible.
And it's kind of demanding and kind of rude. I'm not going to mention names of people to be like, no, you have to watch these 26 motherfucking episodes for you to really like the second season. And then you're like, well, no, you have to keep watching it to really like it. It's like, well, I'm tired of...
You have to eat all this shit before you like the taste of shit, John.
Yeah.
Just keep eating shit, and eventually you'll acclimate and you'll think it's okay.
But it's bragging rights too that I'm after. It's like, I want to be able to be that guy who's like, I've seen The West Wing. Oh yeah, did you watch the fourth season? I'm like, well, yes, I did. And it's like, I'm just gonna shut my big mouth.
Yeah, but at the same time, do you have, can you waste what is it, like several hundred hours of your time on that show? It's
a fantasy. It's like science fiction almost. It takes place in a time where, if it ever existed, it just reminds me how terrible things are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, especially now that
it must be even more depressing.
I can't even watch Veep anymore. You know how bad that is? Like,
really? Because of like
the tone of like the political atmosphere, the tone now, where it's just like, that was satire, that was great. Now it's like, well, apparently people watched Veep and thought that was the real fucking world, and now we're stuck with these assholes because that's just the way it is.
The satire is less exaggerated than what's actually happening.
And Armando, because he's English, like an English guy created Veep, and the Americans love everything the Brits do because of how classy they are. So then Armando's going around being like, this is how Washington is, and then the Washington elites are like, hey, wait a minute, we can do this?
No, I think it's always been that, like, he's doing this show, like, and it's cutting and super funny, but it's always been worse. I think we're only seeing it like kind of... I think there's certainly, it's always been bad. I think it's always been as cynical. I just think it's the reality is now dumber than, because everybody in Veep is pretty smart. They're smart and they're vulgar. Right. And even the dumb guys, everybody's witty and funny. Now we're just seeing the dumb idiot version, the stupid idiot version in real life with, Donald, Dingus.
You're getting the NBC version of an HBO show.
Oh right? My God, yeah.
NBC's the Last Place Network, right?
No, but maybe the Last Place Network, but they're still doing...
Like the UPN version of HBO.
Yes, yeah. I think that's a more apt description.
UPN you have to pay for.
Yeah, well, what's the worst... No,
Stars is pretty...
No, Stars had some great stuff.
But like,
what's the most insulting way you could refer to like his... what would it be?
The Veep?
Yeah, no, but like this is, the... NBC version of an HBO show. But
okay.
What's the most like? Because NBC is like not that bad.
CBS is pretty bad.
Yeah, that's all old people shows now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's also
the old, like Tom's. Every other show is Tom Selleck.
Well, every other show is Kevin James. Whatever network Kevin James is on, that's the bad network.
How does he? Yeah,
Kevin James. There's a great Family Guy
big
joke.
Guy, and he's got a hot wife.
That show's over now. Oh, there's a picture.
But that's every show he does, isn't it? Big guy with a hot wife.
Yeah, that is.
That's the theme song too. Big guy with a hot wife.
In a state with a lot of working class blue Joes. Yeah, the King of Queens, and
Right. He's just a normal guy, but in real life he's rich as fuck.
He did that UFC teacher movie.
Oh, what? What?
Does anyone remember movies made anymore?
I don't know.
There's so many movies come out, and then you remind, whoa, Bringing on the Boom. I think it's Bring on the Boom. Bringing on the Boom.
Okay, was this like a Jay Roach movie?
This was a Frank Karachi movie.
Who's that?
He did Waterboy, Wedding Singer, Bedtime Stories, Around the World in 30 Days with Jackie Chan and Steve Coogan and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kathy Bates and the Wilson brothers and Broadbent.
Boy,
And
I don't know, Frank Karachi.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he did the Netflix Adam Sandler Western.
I recognized the Waterboy, but so did he start with the Happy Madison gang?
He did. Wedding
Okay.
Singer.
Wedding Singer was good though.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You have Dugan who does the underpants over the forehead Sandler movies, and then you have Karachi who does the
more touching ones.
The more touching ones with Sandler going on a vacation.
Yeah.
And
but Jay Roach does some of those too, doesn't he? Like
Roach has. I don't think Roach has ever done a Sandler.
But did Karachi did he do the Friends one that where they're all grown-ups?
That's Dugan.
That's Dugan. See,
and
okay.
Dugan's inconsistent. He did that Problem Child with the racist from Seinfeld.
Oh God! Wait, Problem Child, the
first
movie?
one, yeah.
Oh, I never saw it actually.
Really? Yeah.
Is it worth a rewatch?
Oh, it has a lot of '90s things about it, and I'm sure you grew up with kids who've seen that movie and that awful junior redhead. But it's got Gilbert Gottfried, it's got John Ritter.
It might be worth it just for that.
It's
then.
written by the guys Larry Karaszewski and the guys who did the OJ show and Ed Wood,
really?
And yeah, it's got some elements.
There's some good players involved.
Yeah, and Michael Richards is in it. He plays the bad guy, but I mean, Michael Richards.
Yeah.
But that's another. We're this rewatch topic. Can you rewatch Seinfeld after that and be like, and dismiss it?
And I did.
Yeah, everyone was like, actually, I'm going to forgive him because Seinfeld's too important to.
Well, here's the thing. I don't even have to forgive him. It's just when you watch Seinfeld, it's everything about that show is great. Like I can have those two things in my brain.
I can have Kramer just be Kramer and then never think about Michael Richards.
No, not when I was watching.
I never think about Michael Richards anymore either.
No. But yeah, I did the whole Seinfeld rewatch. Great, all the way through. Great. I mean, towards the end, it's a little less great, but like, man, season 4 or 5, like the fall of George.
Oh yeah,
George losing his job and then just being unemployed for a long time. Incredible. Can't say good enough things about that show.
Seinfeld is definitely one of the kings of the rewatch.
Kings of the rewatch for sure. Holds up. Well, yeah. I mean, like, look at it, that syndication money. That's why they're all worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
And and him. Well, good for him because he's never going to work again.
Yeah, no, that's true, and he didn't.
Oh
no.
Yeah, speaking of, so let's do.
Speaking of not working, we're gonna wrap this thing up. So
are we gonna do the kick?
Oh,
how many layers of kick do we have?
I don't know. If I gotta be honest. We'll say it on the air. I don't know if I want to do a kick every episode.
I want to see.
I just feel like it's too much revisiting something that's too fresh. Like
having just talked.
Yeah.
And
that's just me. I'm being honest. This show, we're gonna be honest, and we'll disagree on the air even sometimes.
Sounds fine.
It makes for drama, but that's me. But you know what? If you feel differently,
I like it mostly because it we figure out what we learned today. You know what I mean? It was like, well, today we talked about.
See, but I hate shows or things that do that. So
fine with me.
No, that's it. It's good, but we covered some ground today. But I feel like I just don't want to. I don't know. That's just me.
That's fine, man. It's this is your pro FX.
Hey, no,
thing,
I don't run this show. I don't run this show.
But I like how for episode 7 we talked about Star Trek. There are 7 Star Trek movies, right?
Yeah.
There are 7 seasons of Seinfeld, or 9?
9.
Damn. There are.
This is going off the rails, John.
All right, well,
no, it's good. I like it.
I'm trying to not do a kick, but not do a.
I know you're trying to secret kick. You're trying to do an ollie.
Oh, but I heard about Susan Sarandon's daughter's. Have you heard about this news? My favorite, the news of the week for the celebrity daughter. She had a nurse take care of her child overnight, and the nurse fell asleep and dropped the baby's skull on her Manhattan floor. And
what the fuck?
And Susan Sarandon's grandchild, I guess, had a cracked skull with blood going in the brain and whatever.
That is terrible.
And I'm reading this story. I'm like, that's just the worst. Like, what a terrible nightmare. And then the woman, the actress is in the movie Saved. Have you ever seen Saved with Macaulay Culkin? And
yeah.
She's in that and. Susan Sarandon's daughter, and so she got attacked this week by people being like, "What kind of mother are you to have help?" and all this stuff. And
Oh my god!
And
so not like, "Oh, I'm sorry, this happened to you."
Yeah.
Now people are shitting on her.
But this happened before the holidays too. So she's this actress apparently has followers and blog readers. I never heard, but anyway, she wrote her experience online, and people just started tearing into her. And anyway,
Just a reminder: the internet is a toilet, and so you should, what do you do with a toilet? Flush that shit away.
yeah.
So let's
Or you put a firecracker in there, and then like those idiots, the ivory breaks and there's poo all over the floor.
Somebody took whatever that there's like a material when we did science classes in high school, and there's a material that's super reactive with water. I can't remember what it is, and it's like kind of in this plasticine ball, and they took the entire ball, it was in this jar of like a neutral liquid, and took it into the bathroom and put it in the toilet, and it explodes like a bomb when you like the science teacher would take like a sliver, put it in some water, and it would boom, and it would blow up. This person stole the whole ball of this stuff. Somebody can tell me what this is in the comments. And dropped it into a toilet and completely blew up a toilet. Could you imagine? This is pre 9/11 though.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, this was post 9/11.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's
how did that not have like a whole thing? It wasn't even in the news or anything, but they blew up a toilet like a bomb.
There was that kid in Ottawa too who died when he was making a barbecue out of gas cylinders and was drilling into it and then blew up and he died.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Just I guess people in high school, be safe. Don't play with explosive shit.
No. And the way that we rewatch things because we want to make sure that it's a good or a bad thing. Learn from these idiots' mistakes and don't
rewatch these mistakes and don't replay them.
You can't rewatch something unless you haven't watched it, I think is the point. So you can't die. You can't die again if you've died.
I feel like I'm high, so let's just...
It's the fever dream. This whole episode's been laced with fever dreams.
That's what it is.
And we're going to wake up tomorrow and we're going to have to record episode 7 again. This never happened.
Oh my God. It's like the drinking the water. We're trying to do it and we can't do it. Oh my God.
That's why I can't do the kick, because it never happened.
Oh, there we go. We've established what this is. So,
all right, we're going to let that linger.
We'll let that linger. Let that digest. So for Watch Rewatch, I'm Sean.
And I'm Aaron Rodgers' girlfriend.
See you later.